introduce a gentleman by the name of Brad Heston. He will be opening up the prayer, followed by the introduction of Brett Gerber. So Brad, it's all yours.
All right, everyone, let's bow our heads. Dear God. Amen. Thank you, Brad. Look at everybody. We got a full house here tonight. All right. My name is Brett Gerber, and everybody, welcome to the kickoff celebration. Welcome to the kickoff celebration here in Roswell for the mayor of Roswell, Kurt Wilson. All right, give some hands of Kurt. Is he not a mayor? Look at him. Roswell. I love Roswell. Many of you may not know, but I moved here in '85. I grew up in Horseshoe Bend, and I've seen a lot of amazing things happen in this town. Actually, I grew up in Horseshoe Bend. Back in the day, if you remember 400, it was 2 lanes. 2 lanes going north, 2 lanes going south. Grass in the middle. I used to walk across it. Actually, I used to ride my motocross bike across 400 just because I could, to go to Roswell Mall, to go see Rambo. I went to Roswell City Park, and I had my first Jimmy Ray's Burger in 1985 with my motocross bike out front. Now, Roswell used to be an antique store. You know, the whole town was antiques up and down Can Street. I don't know if many of you know that. It was a small, tiny town. 2003, I think Ceviche or Salt went in first and took over the antique stores. And then now today, I think we have over 30 plus restaurants on Can Street or around the Can Street area. So it's been just an amazing town to live in and grow up. Which brings me to Kurt. Kurt Wilson.
Yes.
Oh, Kurt. A little while back, Kurt calls me up, and everybody knows how Kurt talks, and he's got that great smile and grin. So I go over to his house. I go upstairs above his garage. It's like, Kurt, what's going on? Kurt, what's this great news? Gets up in his chair. BG, I'm running for the mayor of Roswell. Oh, why would you do that? Oh my God, Kurt, are you serious? And he's kind of smiling at me. It's like, Kurt, you have everything in the world going on for you. You have an amazing family. You've had an amazing career. You moved here with Stacy in the 90s. You have 4 beautiful daughters. You raised them right here in Roswell, in Brookfield. Professionally, the man's been a success. From Gold Kissed, you moved up the corporate ladder and were very successful. You own a cigar store. You decided, hey, I'll own a couple of Zaxby's throughout the Southeast. He owns and operates, I believe, 6 or 7 now. That wasn't enough for Kurt. He wanted to be chairman of the board for Zaxby's. And then, I don't know why he did this. He's chairman of the board of Brookfield Country Club. He turned this place into what it is today, and the design of the golf course. He did an immaculate job. But I could go on about Kurt. Kurt's he's just an amazing guy. And I was like, Kurt, again, why do you want to run for mayor? And true story, he looked me right in the face, again gets up and just looks me right in with his ear-to-ear smile. It's like, Gerber, BG, I want to make Roswell the #1 destination in Georgia.
Wow. Whoa!
And then he said something else. I want to make Roswell the #1 family community in the whole United States. And right there and then, I was like, hey, I'm in. How can I help, Kurt? I'm in. So we're all here today. We're all friends with Kurt. We love him to death. We love Stacy. Just an amazing family. How can we help Kurt today to be mayor? It starts with all of you. It's very easy. How can we help Kurt? Get involved with Kurt, his team, help him out, introduce him to individuals in the community that are very influential, business owners. There's a lot of business owners here tonight. Let's try over the next 2 months to try to get as many votes to Kurt Wilson so he can have that vision to make Roswell the destination, #1 destination in Georgia, and the #1 family community in the United States. My friend, future Mayor of Roswell, Kurt Wilson.
So Brett and Brad did exactly what I asked them to do. I told them to both to take 30 minutes apiece and give me 1 minute and then I'd be done. Of course, I'm lying. I can't tell you, this is an amazing turnout. Thank you to each of you for being here tonight. My team said we were going to have 10 people, so I'm a little surprised because I'm paying for the beer and the wine, so this is going to be a problem afterwards. But I hope you're enjoying it. I can't tell you how glad I am that you guys are here. There's some folks that I need to introduce to you before I say a couple words, because this event would not happen if I didn't have some incredible people stand up and said, we want to be a part of this event, and we want to be a part of this campaign. So, by the way, when we do events, I invite all the city council candidates, and I invite the other mayoral candidate. I don't try to be insulting to Lori because I don't want to invite her because I don't think, obviously, that would be very polite on my part. So, not to say I'm not inviting her, but I try to invite all of the city council people and all of the city council candidates, and I hope that makes some sense when I talk to you in a few minutes. So I see, I have 2 more crazy people that are crazy important people to introduce you to. So all the way from Athens, Alabama, I'm very fortunate to have my mom, Judy Wilson, come join us. And the love of her life, Jerry McCullough, is here with us as well. So I have 4 daughters, and there's no way any of them would ever come to anything like this. And somehow, some way, I got my wife, Stacy Wilson, here. And so where is Stacy Wilson? Stacy Wilson's in the very back, as I would expect her to be. So I want to start off. I want to start off by telling you a little story. And the story I want to tell you about is that 59 years ago, on September the 12th, in 1962, the year of my birth, something amazing at Rice University. Now, some of you are probably familiar with it. But at that time, the President of the United States, JFK, gave a speech. And what he basically said is, in that speech to those 35,000 people at Rice University, we're going to go to the moon. And he announced this on September the 12th, 1962. And the reason that's very significant to me, because I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, and I'll tell you why that's significant. So, the President of the United States says we're going to go to the moon, but we're losing a space race at the time. We're behind the Soviet Union in 1962. It's not looking so good. And the President of the United States goes out and says, not only are we going to win the space race, but before the decade is over, I'm telling you, we're going to the moon. So there was a guy that was the head of NASA who lived in Huntsville, Alabama. His name was Werner Von Braun. Now, Werner Von Braun wasn't at the speech at Rice University, but he obviously did happen to hear about it. And remember, he's the head of NASA. So he hears about this speech, and he calls the President of the United States and says, Mr. President, can I come see you in Washington, D.C.? And the President says, of course, come see me, Werner. And so he flies up there, goes to see the President of the United States, exchanges pleasantries, and says, Mr. President, I'd like to have some time to explain to you about the speech that you said that we were going to go to the moon before 1960s were over. I'd like you to understand how that is not possible. And so for the next hour of time, the President of the United States, JFK, pleasantly listened to Werner Von Braun, probably the foremost expert in the world at that time on rocket technology, explained to the President of the United States why the United States could not go to the moon before the end of the decade. And so at the end of the hour, the President of the United States, JFK, said, Werner, is there anything else you'd like to tell me? And Werner says, no, Mr. President, I think I've properly informed you of all the reasons of why your speech is not going to work and why we're not going to the moon before the end of the 1960s. And by the way, this story has great relevance because from Huntsville, it meant a lot to us. This is very a popular story. We grew up as a kid. So Werner gets through, says, hey, Mr. President, anything else that I need to inform you? JFK says, no, got it, thank you. So Werner, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you educating me today on all the reasons why we cannot go to the moon before the end of the 1960s. Thank you. The bad news I have for you is, Werner, you're head of NASA, and since you've just told me everything that's wrong with this, you're going to be the guy figuring this out. So good luck to you, and hit the door, brother. And so, where I come from in Huntsville, Alabama, that's an absolutely true story. And I will talk Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
No, it's back on.
It's very uncomfortable talking with your microphone in your lips like this. Yeah. But I think what's relevant to me growing up about that story, what's relevant about that story, is that leadership is supposed to inspire. Leadership is supposed to aspire. And one of the things that has happened to us as a people is that we've forgotten how to be inspired. And we've forgotten how to aspire, particularly in the public sector. And when I look at what's happening in our city that we love, because everybody here has this same, you wouldn't be here if you didn't love Roswell, Georgia, like I do. You wouldn't be here if this city didn't mean a crazy big amount to you, like it does to me. But what you're probably thinking, yes ma'am, I couldn't agree more. But what you're probably struggling with, like me, is why is there so much consternation? Why does Roswell, Georgia fight like it's Washington, D.C.? Why do I have 3 people on one side and 3 people on another side and a mayor, and everybody fights and we can't get anything done?
Amen.
Stuff like this. So, one of the things that I believe that leadership is responsible for, and let me say that as a race, there's going to be a lot of darts thrown at me. I've already started to get some arrows. I'm already starting to get some nasty stuff. But let me tell you that from my perspective, leadership is about solutions. Leadership is not about taking a side and getting in the fight. And it's time that Roswell has a leader that doesn't get in the middle of the fight. It's time that Roswell has a leader that thinks like a citizen and says, why don't we get things done? It's time that we have a leader that says, you know what? Why don't we make Roswell the #1 family community in America? What keeps us from doing that? And it's intentionality, it's strategy. Okay, I can pull it back up. It's intentionality, it's strategy, and it's vision. And so I want to give you some ideas of what I mean by bold vision. Because Roswell has more plans on the shelf than you can shake a stick at. And we got some really good plans, by the way. We just don't get them done because we don't have the political will. Because I will tell you frankly, that both political sides are scared to death of us as voters. So they don't take action, and it's easier to fight with one another. So I want to share with you one of my ideals, and by the way, I call this a bold vision. Because in Roswell, right now today, you probably noticed that we're starting to see some economic creep that's not very positive for our city. You've probably noticed that. And if you live on the east side of Georgia 400, you've probably really noticed it. And if you live close to the corridor in Georgia 400 on the west side, you've probably noticed it. And so that's natural, organic, economic activity. And the reason that's relevant is it doesn't change on its own. Capital markets don't come in and say, they don't come in and wave a magic wand and say, I'm going to make everything better for your city. So, interestingly enough, it's incumbent upon the city to change the dynamics. And one of the suggestions that I would like to make to you as citizens is that on the east side of Georgia 400, I would like to suggest that we create Roswell Central Park. And in Roswell Central Park, I would like for us to create a botanical gardens that's such a massive project, such a destination product, that it's not a destination for Roswell, it's not a destination for Atlanta, it's not a destination for Georgia, it's a destination for the entire Southeast United States, a major destination project. I would like to put right next to that, I would like to put a major art museum. An art museum that's not just for North Atlanta, that's not just for Atlanta, that's not just for Georgia, but serves the entire Southeast United States in Roswell Central Park on the east side of 400. I'd like to put an event center there. I'd like to put a small amphitheater there. I'd like to have an incredibly large green space there. And then I'd like to surround it with high-end retail and residential from the capital markets, because that begins to change the dynamics of the economic activity that's transpiring in our city. The second vision that I'd like to share with you is that we have a plan called the Roswell River Project. I'm going to call it a river walk. It's time for Roswell to do a river walk on its most wonderful natural asset on the Chattahoochee River. Great cities have river walks. It's time for Roswell to have a river walk. We've already got a plan to do it. We just need you, the voters, to say yes to that. We need you, the voters, to say yes. The third thing that I think is hugely important from a long-term strategic perspective is that it's time for us to hire a city planner that reports directly to the mayor and city council, because the mayor and city council are the elected representatives of the city. And it's time for us to build out a 20-year plan with a grid starting from the river on Highway 9 all the way up to Holcomb Bridge, and to create a dynamic city center accentuating what we've already got going on well at Canton Street, and build that out as a dynamic city center that continues to make our city thrive along the natural things that are already going along organic economic activity. The second part of that is, same thing, build a grid with a plan, north to south on Highway 9. Build a grid with a plan, east to west, Holcomb Bridge to 400. Build a grid with a plan from Georgia 400, east all the way to Gwinnett County. It's time that we build 20-year plans into our, and by the way, that way us as citizens know what's going on, and that way the private capital markets know what's going on. It's important for us to create transparency so everybody in our city understands what the plan is. One of the problems that we have in our city is nobody really knows what's going on when you get down to the deep parts of it. But for me, it kind of goes to the theme of let's get Roswell going again, and being very specific about there are specific things that we have to do to make those things happen. You know, traffic is something that every one of us in this city, anybody that lives in North Atlanta, anybody that lives in Atlanta complains about. And I have a couple of simple rules that I want to talk to you about traffic. The first one is kind of like the Hippocratic Oath. Do no harm. And what I mean by that is that any traffic quote-unquote improvement, the first piece of it should be is, does it improve the quality of life for the residents of Roswell, or does it not improve the quality of life for the residents of Roswell? I'm going to introduce somebody when we get through, because this next piece he's going to love. So the next piece is, I've got a lot of ideas. I bet you got a lot of ideas about how to solve traffic. And for me, that's kind of the underpinning of the next piece. It's time for us to create a citizen-led transportation committee to solve our traffic problems. In other words, it's time to get things done. I know for all of you, for those of us who live over here in Brookfield, public safety probably is not as high a priority as if you live in other places of Roswell. And because we're fairly inoculated towards crime over here. But we're very blessed in that we have an unbelievable police chief, and we have a great Roswell police force. And it's time for us to pay our Roswell police force best in class of any other, of all of our sister cities. Our police officers need to make more money. It's also time that we incentivize financially our police officers to come live in our city with us. These people that serve us, we need them to be citizens with us. That's important to the community. I'll tell you a little pet peeve of mine, because sometimes things that just don't make sense that are pet peeves of mine, and that just don't add up. So we closed the Roswell City Jail 6 years ago. And we closed it under the moniker that we were going to save $2 million a year. Here's the problem with that. Operationally, we showed that we saved $2 million a year, but what we didn't show was every time that a police officer makes an arrest, they basically, if they're lucky, spend 4 hours of transportation time handling that arrest now to go somewhere else outside of Roswell. It's not very efficient in terms of public safety, and it's not counting for the true cost. The other part of that is, from a public safety perspective, is part of having a local jail in a city like ours is protecting your citizens. God forbid something should happen to your wife or to your child and they get a DUI. I honestly don't think it's a great idea to send your wife or your child down to the city of Atlanta to go to jail for a DUI. I think that's a bad idea. So to me, again, it's time to get Roswell going again. It's time to get things done. Lastly, I want to share with you is that the role of the mayor, for me, is very diverse. But there's 3 things that I want to share with you what I think are most important and just endemic to what our mayor should be doing in any city. And the first one is that the mayor should be the foremost goodwill ambassador for the city to its own citizens, to its own businesses, and to its sister cities. That's number one the mayor should be doing. Number 2, the mayor should be leading the charge on economic development. Economic development in terms of encouraging additional business for the businesses that are already in the city. Economic development for bringing businesses that are not in the city. Economic development for promoting businesses that are doing business in the city. The mayor should be leading the charge on economic development. It's a huge role for the mayor. The third role that is crazy important, particularly in 2021 and in 2022, is that the mayor should be the chief political liaison between the state legislature, between the lieutenant governor, between the governor, between the congresspeople, between the senators, between the agency heads at the state level, and even sometimes the federal level. The mayor needs to be a very aggressive person in terms of promoting the city and getting things, because there's a lot that can be done for any city, but especially for our city now. So for me, getting things done is kind of those 3 roles that fit into the criteria. So lastly, I can't thank you enough for being here. I can't thank you enough for taking your time to listen to me. I thank you for being here. I hope that and ask for your support. I ask for your support in 5 weeks if you early vote or absentee vote. I ask for, by the way, let me introduce a friend of mine. This is another candidate running for mayor that I want to introduce. This is Jason Yowell. Say hi to Jason. So, I need your help, because you can't talk about bold vision and get it done if you don't have the support of your fellow citizens. I need your help, fellow citizens. This is the most critical election in the history of Roswell. And usually these elections are about 18% of the people turn out in these municipal elections. We need 25%, 30%. We need to activate our citizens. We need people out saying we want to change things. If we want to stop the fighting at City Hall, you have to say that. You have to say that by how you vote. So I need your help. So please, get a sign. Please, activate your friends. Please, set up a meet and greet. Please, volunteer. Please, donate. I need your help to get this done. This is a we proposition, not an I proposition. My name's Kerr Wilson. I'm running for mayor. I hope I get your support. God bless this great country, America. God bless the city of Roswell.